I couldn't be better, Ari. Couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better.
New grandpa, and right here on my favorite TV show. What a combo.
Hey, mazel tov to that. The grandpa part, obviously a lot more personally important, but, you don't plan for these things. You've done a lot of them. You've advised a lot of candidates and presidents. I guess if you had your pick, you'd say maybe better to not have someone screaming lie or maybe just do the darn thing. But it also seemed to expose exactly what the president's up against. Was that a bad moment for Republicans?
Well, I told people I have a PhD in white trashology, and you saw real white trash on display. And let me say something about Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She dresses like white trash. She really needs a fashion consultant. Could I recommend George Santos? He could do a good job of dressing up where she doesn't announce her white trashdom by her own clothes.
Well, I'll tell you, James, her thing was saying, the outfit was supposed to do the spy balloon, the antics. I wonder what you think on policy where the president basically this is what he has to deal with. And for folks who don't follow it every day but watch the State of the Union, it's kind of a reminder of, hey, you reach across the aisle and this is what you get sometimes.
Well, first of all, their lust for cutting Social Security and Medicare is well documented. We know that Newt Gingrich shut the government down and, of course, got defeated in the end. We know that George W. Bush tried to privatize Social Security and Medicare. We know that when Paul Ryan was Speaker and John Boehner, they did everything they could to cut Social Security and Medicare. We know that is their objective. I've heard today the congressman from South Dakota saying that we got to come together and make these cuts. So President Biden is 1,000% right on this, and he's right to press ahead. And I thought he had a great night last night, and it's the level of white trashdom in the Republican Party is just staggering. I mean, for somebody that has observed it for a long time like I have, I've never seen it manifest itself on the level that it's manifested itself.
And as for the exchange, we look at where the culture in the world is going. A lot of folks are using TikTok to get their news, to get a piece of the speech, etc. Some of Biden's allies were posting basically saying, hey, this worked. He took what was this sort of perhaps, cacophony of a moment and turned it into, hey, well, then let's just all agree and move on that we're going to protect these programs. Here's a little bit of how that played online.
Joe Biden laid the biggest trap for the Republicans, and they fell right in it.
Baby Joe got up there, got the talking, and got them all riled up, and basically bamboozled them into standing up and applauding and agreeing.
He walked them right into that, and they fell for it.
That's somehow it's playing. I'm curious your thoughts, again, with a president where you go through a multi-week process to write the speech, but then some of it you have to figure out in the moment.
Well, first of all, I know a lot of President Biden's senior advisors have been knowing him for a long time. And when something like this happens, how could we be this lucky? How could they just walk right into it? I mean, oh my God, they did it. And I know, I'm positive, they were hoping for this reaction. But they would have been satisfied with half of it. But they just walked right into the trap. And Kevin McCarthy, who is not white trash, he's just white jello, he knew what happened. And you cannot do anything. They have low quality people. Warren Bovett, met her husband when, allegedly, according to the police report, exposed himself to her at a bowling alley. This is not make-up stuff. This is who they are. And even McCarthy, as gutless and spineless as he is, knew that they walked right into the trap. It's unbelievable. And I'd have loved to have been at the White House watching this on television with the senior White House staff, because they just said, oh my God, how can we be this lucky?
There you go. And then, so McCarthy had claimed they were going to be, quote, respectful. He was seen, seeming to try to tamp this down. MTG does what she does. We showed it, her calling him a liar. And there were also, it was not just her, there were also throughout the night this sort of jeering and booing. Take a listen.
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see. Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year. got it.
I'm curious, James, again, because I'm not here to be, the rhetoric police. Politics is rough and tumble. The House of Lords in England, they got, the back and forth. But do you think any of this shows a sort of a decline, or is this not the thing to worry about?
Well, usually I'm pretty pessimistic about the state of American politics and to some extent the state of American culture, but I thought this was illuminating. Come on, this was entertainment, man. You can't, you like entertainment, you couldn't see this and let them expose themselves, if you will, Lauren Boebert's husband, and to see just how trashy these people are, how rude they are, how ill-mannered they are, and you don't get to see this very often at this level, and you really got to see it last night at this level. I'm a big believer that, the State of the Union, I mean, no one cares. It doesn't change anything. I don't know what it'll change last night, but it was vastly and enormously entertaining to me.
Right. Well, and I appreciate your candor of how you watch it, because part of it could be important, part of it could be entertaining. I'm curious about the real big history here with those safety net programs. We've covered this on the beat. I thought it was striking when Barack Obama hit the campaign trail in the midterms, amidst everything we've been living through, from COVID to insurrection, and he really drilled down on Social Security. And you do the aphorisms, not me, sir, but they do say a hit dog will holler. I do know that one. And it seems that there was some hollering coming out of this Social Security clash, which again matters. It matters to Americans, our viewers, people. You had this idea, we're shaking their heads, and Republicans saying, this seems so out of bounds. Mike Lee, we could show you, Senator Mike Lee. I think we have that. Looks absolutely like he can't even believe it, scoffing, if you will. Well, again, we just want to do some fact checking. Here's Senator Lee in his own words.
It will be my objective to phase out Social Security.
Nice.
To pull it up by the roots and get rid of it. People who advise me politically always tell me that's dangerous, and I tell them, in that case, it's not worth my running. That's why I'm doing this, to get rid of that. Medicare and Medicaid are of the same sort and need to be pulled up.
Medicare, Medicaid, pulled up by the root, he's saying. This is who he is. And by the way, he has every right to run on it, but then don't act shocked when you get busted for it. I'm going to do one more quote, and then that's it. We did a little old school South. We did Nas. The other quote would be, I believe, the late, great Harry Truman, who said, if my opponent stops lying about me, I might just stop telling the truth about him. It seems that Biden was telling the truth about some of these Republicans. Does that matter? Is that an important part of the objective of a speech like this?
Remember, Mike Lee is considered a smart Republican. That's about where they are, all right? And it's just inbred in their history. They break code Medicare socialism, all right? They have a huge, long history of disliking programs like Social Security and Medicare. And there's no doubt about it. And of course, Rick Scott, Kevin McCarthy in November said that they would default on debt to force cuts in Social Security and Medicare. History is a funny thing. It's hard to run from. It has a way of catching up with you, just like you did an excellent job of catching up with the smart Republican Mike Lee, scowling as if I do such a thing, and then you add a video. But we'll keep plowing ahead, and they'll keep making mistakes because that's just what they do, and, the president, Democrats have to take as much advantage of them as they can.
Yeah, people have to know. I mean, we talk about the period of the time we're in, and the jobs part does seem to be coming back, but we have all of these other challenges. You just lived through a pandemic. If you want to run on eliminating Medicare, Medicaid after this pandemic, okay, but then you got to stand by it. And as you say, we're going to have the receipts on that. We got our shortest break, 60 seconds. James, when we come back, I want to ask you one other thing about last night. Stay with us.